And joining me now is the Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament, our newsmaker tonight. Mahua Moitra joins us. Appreciate your joining us, Ms. Moitra. There's been plenty of controversy regarding this ethics panel committee hearing that was held today. You and 5 other opposition MPs reportedly walked out. The chairperson of the committee claims that you used unparliamentary language, you were evading questions. How do you respond? What's your defense?
Rajdeep, one thing is very clear. Every single minute of what transpires inside the committee is recorded in the form of minutes. This is, I think, the first time in the history of parliamentary committees that 5 members of the opposition, remember there were only 11 people present in the committee room when all this happened, only 11 people were present. There were 6 from the BJP, including the chairperson, and there were 5 from the opposition, and I was in the witness box giving my hearing. For the first time in history, you saw opposition members, we boycotted, we walked out before, but never ever have 5 opposition MPs come out straight out of the meeting and spoken to the media. People normally do not even speak to the media under Rule 275 on committing proceedings. You know that. First time in history, all other members came out and openly spoke and said, do whatever you must, we must make this open. So you can imagine how strong and how unfair what must have transpired inside for all 5 MPs who are not from the Trinamool Congress, from the JDU, from the CPIM, from the Congress, from the BSP to come out and say that, you know, what happened is we cannot be part of this proceedings. That's the first thing. This is the first time I'm talking to the press. You've got all your information from them. This was not an ethics committee. I've written a letter to the Lok Sabha Speaker in which I've given details. This was the most unethical, derogatory, demeaning, humiliating behavior meted out to me by the chairperson of an ethics committee. I have gone for my hearing. I have been called for oral evidence.
You're using very strong language. You're saying that you were demeaned at the meeting.
Yes,
I'm asking you, no, just a minute, ma'am. The chairperson says you've used unparliamentary language backed by the BJP MPs.
No, one second. Everything is transcribed. There's nothing secret. I have not used any unparliamentary language. Nobody has used any unparliamentary language. The chairperson was reading out from a script that had been handed to him. His line of questioning was filthy. I am standing there. There are 2 issues. One is the NIC login. And we need to make this public. There's no Rule 275 which is going to protect anybody else. You want to expel us all? Please expel us all. Because this BJP government has taken every rule, every structure that we had in this country and thrown it out of the window. So don't expect us to adhere to anything. And you quote us Rule 275. What they did from the beginning was, the rule is, I came in, I gave my statement. Then they're supposed to ask, everyone's supposed to ask questions. Before anybody else could start, the chairperson had a 10 or 12 page list of questions. His line of questioning had nothing to do with the 2 main questions. Why have I been called? One is use of the NIC login, whether it's authorized, unauthorized, and the repercussions of that. That is one issue. The second issue is the purported cash and gifts that you can ask me about, which has been provided with evidence you can ask me about, which I'm perfectly willing to answer. Whichever question he asked me related to that, and he never asked any question related to that, his entire line of questioning right from the beginning was filthy and derogatory. It was a complete Bastraharan. I mean, I don't even want to tell you all those questions. He says, you say so-and-so was a dear friend. Just how dear was he? And does his wife know how dear he was? And he named the wife. So our committee members stood up and said that you have no right when who the wife is, what that person is, how these are not members, these are not proceedings of a committee. Please stop this line of questioning. So then he says that, oh, she can answer no. So, and I want to ask you something on television, because we as women in this country have shied away from this. He's persisting with this filthy line of questioning, and he's saying, he says, oh, who do you speak to at night, and how long, what are your late night calls to, and can you provide us login details of who your late night calls are to? I said, what kind of a question? How is it relevant?
No, he apparently also asked you specifically about the login.
That is like asking a woman.
No, ma'am, you are saying he asked you personal question, but he's also claiming, just a minute, ma'am.
I've answered.
No, he's also claiming apparently that he specifically asked you about the fact that your login was used allegedly 47 times from Dubai.
Rajdeep, he never got to my logins. I will answer my logins openly. Let me finish.
Yes.
He asked, these were the line of questions. He never asked about the 47 logins. They gave an NIC report in the morning to everybody, which they showed and they took back. I was never provided a copy of the report, number one. And he never asked me about the logins. He never asked. He asked general questions about, do you think it is okay for an unauthorized person to get into your login? He never asked about the logins. He never got to that. The line of questioning he was taking, who was a dear friend? Does his wife know? Who were your late night calls to? Which hotel did you go to? Who did you stay the night with? This kind of cheap questioning. And then he says, you can say no. I'm asking you on national television, if I ask somebody, are you a prostitute? And she says no. Is that a line of questioning to take? Is the question itself not derogatory? Is that question itself not derogatory? How dare, just because I'm sitting in a witness box, he is going to follow this unethical, immoral, Vastraharan is going to go on. And I'm going to have to sit there. Every time, multiple times the MPs told him, multiple times.